Welcome to Canada's podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm taking a huge breath right now. Huge breath because I'm going to take you on a journey. No, actually, my guest and I are going to take you on a journey. And, you know, I live by a very simple philosophy in life. And what this conversation is going to be about today is centered around as it relates to business first and then personal second. But you win at the game of life and you limit the game of business when you zag when everybody else zigs. And those of you that are leaning in, they're going to say, oh, yeah, here he goes again, talking about that. But I owe it to you as a listener on this podcast to make sure that I continue to bring you those stories, those business stories of success, business stories of doing things differently. The business stories are based on a simple philosophy of building an organization that is based on identifying a need and then making sure that need is being dealt with. And well, I can keep on rambling on about this, man, but Nakula Das is our guest today, and I knew him as Nick, so we're gonna get into a little bit of that, like what's going on, but. Here's what I can tell you. There's been a constant theme of entrepreneurship in his veins, in the way that he approaches life, in the way that he analyzes opportunities. And the person who I want to really bring into this conversation today, and then lead into how that's evolved into ultimately what he's doing right now. So first of all, Nick, what the heck's going on with Nakula Das, man? I think it's Nick Pereira. The guy that was nearly going to go broke 20 years ago, and now is a budding successful star. What's going on with your journey of life, dude? Talk to me about that. Oh, by the way, Nick and his lovely girl Sarah are based out of St. John, New Brunswick, my hometown, and so that's the Atlantic Canadian piece. So over to you, sir. What's going on?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Well, first of all, thanks so much for the opportunity to be here. And yeah, depending how you know me, either know me as Nakula Das or Nicholas Pereira. And a lot of people in the land of Canada are getting to know me because I'm also politically involved, and those two worlds have crossed in my world. And some people are like, "Why? Who is this guy? Why does he have two names? Who is he really?" And so, just the quick reply is this: Nicholas Pereira is my name. It's the name that my parents gave me, and it would be my government name. Nakula Das is a spiritual name that I was given by the walking monk, who is a Swami or spiritual master within the Hare Krishna community and spiritual way of life. And so I use the Nakula Das name to promote my business or to talk about the practices of sex transmutation, because it somewhat has a spiritual, mystical kind of tone when we talk about sex transmutation and how sex and success are all related. So I got two names. I got Nicholas Pereira. I got Nakula Das. Most people call me Nick once they get to know me, and I'm perfectly fine with, trust me, I've been called so many. Once you get involved with politics and you talk about semen openly, people call you all kinds of names. So I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, either way, regardless of what you're doing, you're my brother. That's how I'm going to focus.
I appreciate it.
So, Nick, I'm going to go by Nick. One of the things we were talking about when we were beginning our conversation today is the whole conversation around sex and success. And most people would kind of just go, okay, what are they going to get into? But I'm going to challenge each one of you as a listener that actually this conversation that we're going to get into is a topic that is in chapter 11 of a worldwide successful book called Think and Grow Rich. Has anybody ever heard of that book before? And what's interesting is that people flirted around that conversation from chapter 11. They kind of flirted over, what's that all mean? So, Nick, can we start in that arena, in that conversation, as to what was Napoleon Hill saying in chapter 11 that was so relevant between sex and success? And then we're going to get into other questions as to how you're building a business around it, because you are definitely zagging, man, for all the right reasons. So can we start in that direction?
Yeah, man. So sex and success. So I got introduced to this idea. Chapter 11 of Think and Grow Rich is called The Mysteries of Sex Transmutation. It sounds all mystical. And there is like kind of like a definitely, let's say, an energy aspect to this. And basically, the long story short is that Napoleon Hill says that if a man does not learn to transmute his sexual energy or does not know how to practice the art of sexual transmutation, then essentially he can never really gain success, because ultimately he'll never develop enough willpower, focus, and the ultimate energy that's needed to take yourself to those higher levels of success. Now, when I read it first, like you said, most people dance over it. And I did, because I was like, okay, I get it, right? Like, kind of, I get it. Okay, or cool. All right, I can see how that makes sense, but never really got into it in depth until later on in my life when I really started studying personal development. What motivation, like real motivation, not just like rah motivation, but actual biological motivation. What makes you tick? What makes human beings go? And what makes one person successful and another person not successful? And this whole topic of sex came back up, and the way someone expresses their sexual urges and energy, and how sex and psychology go hand in hand. You can't separate the two. So in Napoleon Hill, he brings up this concept of sex transmutation, this ability to use sexual energy as a way to attract and create and ultimately build and get your riches, build your business, be successful from a financial perspective. The concept, though, has a deeper root from many different spiritual practices around the world, where the idea of transmuting sexual energy directly impacts how we evolve and how we can think and our masculinity, especially as men. Now, I specifically work with men, but the conversation of sex and success is equally as fair to men and women.
I love that you reference that point, because entrepreneurship is both genders, and I noticed that Napoleon Hill did not specifically reference a male figure over a female figure. So I'm glad you brought that point up in the conversation. So back to you, dude.
Yeah. Now there is like, and I know talking about men and women roles is like super like, sensitive these days. But the reality is that there are differences between men and women. And one of the main differences is...
Whoa. You've heard it first here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I said, oh my goodness, I said it. Yeah. Like,
oh my God. There's a...
yeah.
Sorry,
and this is no worries. Yeah. And it's really like, it just at a simple level, and it's not meant to be political or controversial. It's just reality. Men, right? We have testosterone, so do women, but we have higher levels of testosterone. And ultimately, we are the seed bearer. So our sexual organs are different, and therefore our psychology is different. And this is, again, comes back to, for why does a business owner want to have this conversation? Because when you understand your own sexual psychology, your own sexual urges, both the deepest, darkest reasons you have and the fantasies and all of that, right? To the spiritual aspects, the energetic aspects, how sex is transmuted in the body and used to fuel your motivation and your desires. And even, why do you want to have a big business with lots of money? Because there's an ultimate power there, and sex and power and success all go hand in hand. So once you start to draw these links, what Napoleon Hill was alluding to was that once you can control your sexual drive better and better, and you can ultimately use all of that energy, all of that drive towards your business, then you will become highly motivated. You will become clear of mind. You won't be distracted by the millions of different ways that the world has learned to distract you, because the ultimate distraction is sex, in a way. So
Nick, I'm sorry for the pause. What do you mean by control your sexual desire? I mean, because look, that's part of who we are as individuals, not just entrepreneurs. What do you mean by the more you can control it? Because you're not going to eliminate it, dude. That's how we make kids, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So so when you say that, what do you mean?
Yeah, believe me, Rivers, like, and I'm saying this in all respect. Believe me, Sarah would be happy of saying it, right? Or she would at least laugh. I don't know if she'd be happy, but she'd at least laugh. My wife is hot. I am not giving up sex anytime soon.
Okay, cool.
Right?
Cool.
So it's not about giving up sex. What it is about expressing sexuality in a conscious way or in a more natural way. So let's first of all talk about what is an unnatural way so that we could define maybe what I mean by a natural way.
And so
Pornography.
I want to keep the lineage going here. What is an unnatural way specifically, as it can be had a negative impact on the success of your business? Can we keep in that theme?
100%. So pornography is an unnatural way to express your sexual desire or try to fulfill your sexual desire. Pornography is a highly addictive a substance. I'm going to call it a substance.
It
reacts and acts the same way as sugar, alcohol, and any other drug. In fact, there's studies that show that excessive pornography watching has tremendous impacts, negative impacts on your brain and your prefrontal cortex. So specifically your ability to make good long-term decisions and keep you away from vices. The biggest distraction, the biggest challenge business owners have is focus. If you are now add pornography into the mix, add all kinds of other drugs and alcohol and the million ways in which we falsely stimulate ourselves or unnaturally stimulate ourselves, then what this does is it steals your focus and it also steals your energy. Now, what I mean by your energy is this. Our basic instinct is to have sex. So all of our activities have an undertone of sexual motivation, meaning I'm going to give you this from a man's side, okay? Because I know that my experience, that's where my expertise, okay? From the male perspective, our basic instinct is to provide and protect. When we provide and protect, we also show the world around us in our community and potential sexual partners that we are good men. We are doing our duty. What it does is meaning this is why money, fame, power, status, it all helps us essentially get laid. Because to the feminine energy, is that, wow, that is masculine energy, a provider, a protector, someone who shows that he can take care of. And in today's world, having money, having power, having status, having fame is all alluding subconsciously to this specific attraction. Now, when you understand this and know this, you start to recognize why you want to do what you want to do, which also then takes shifts to, is that a smart way of doing it? Is it necessary? And so what we mean by controlling your sexual energy is by first understanding why sex motivates you to be successful. It's why you also see that highly successful people generally have a high sex drive. Napoleon Hill states this in Think and Grow Rich. He actually states that there is no successful business person, leader, inventor, artist who does not lack in sexual drive or passion. Passion is a symptom or a manifestation of someone's sexual energy or drive. Here is why powerful men especially want to learn the art of sex transmutation. Bill Clinton, Tiger Woods, let's give a few examples. Arnold Schwarzenegger, all got themselves in trouble and totally diminished their successes and their lives, or at least had to go through tough times to get on track because they were unable to redirect their sexual urges and passions and express it inside of a committed relationship, and weren't able to get sexually satisfied. When you are unable to get sexually satisfied, you will begin to look for other ways to sexually satisfy yourself. Hence, a lot of powerful men will either cheat on their wives or allow themselves to go very astray. They will go into pornography. They will go into places where like strip clubs or these things. Why? Because they're unable to satisfy that desire. What I teach is teach men how to satisfy the desire. And how do you satisfy the desire is actually by bringing control to it and starting to regulate it. This is why if you look at all major spiritual or religious traditions, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, right? Just to name a few, and Islamic, they all have some rules or regulations around the way people express their energy. For example, in the Orthodox Jewish community, it's Friday night. Friday night, it's on. They discourage masturbation and they discourage pornography. Why? It's not because they're trying to limit your pleasure, but what they're saying is that if you don't get that energy contained, and it's creative power. This is what Napoleon Hill was teaching us. It's creative power, it's motivation, it's fuel, it's nitric oxide, If you are, as a man, depleting that through yourself, pornography, however you're doing it, in all kinds of ways, then you're not actually containing your most basic motivation and drive. But if you allow it to build in you, so as the Orthodox Jews, they allowed that energy to build throughout the week. Well, at the end of the week, first of all, they have what I'm going to call a natural or healthy expression, which is real sex with their partner, in what's supposed to be a loving, intimate way. Conscious sex.
Okay. So I love it. And I do. I'm leaning in, and I'm feeling so proud of myself that I invited you onto this show, because this is a zag. This is an important conversation. This is the talk that your dad never had with you conversation. Totally. And I love it. And because we want to bring success to entrepreneurs as we go. So I have one question that I want you to spend 60 seconds answering, because then I want to bridge it to, okay, tell me about your business around this. So why has this triggered you as something that you want to passionately pursue? What was the aha moment you said, I gotta help people with that space?
Okay, I was going on in my own business, kept going up to hitting certain income levels. Couldn't get past it. No matter what I did, different model, different coach, different program, couldn't get past it. I was like, why? I know it's a block. And because I've studied all of these different sort of esoteric and personal development and ways of transforming people's belief systems. And I was like, I don't feel it's my belief system. It's something else. And so that's when I dove into the world of energy. And then I went right back to my humble beginnings of Think and Grow Rich and Napoleon Hill, and says, what about this sex thing? Now, my knowledge in the esoteric traditions also gave me more knowledge to go, I believe that's it. Because at that point, I was watching lots of porn. I was jerking off. I was ejaculating every day. I was having sex with my wife, but it wasn't very connected in that way because I was all over the place, right? And so in that sense, I was like, I bet you this has something to do with the fact that I can't take it up to the next level, and I continuously don't attract people at higher levels. So long story short, I hired a coach who specifically taught tantric sex and what he called sexual kung fu. Kung fu meaning discipline around your sexual energy. And he taught a system of disciplining sexual energy through meditations and different practices, breath work, stretching, to retrain our bodies as men to stay away from porn and take all that motivation and express it in our businesses and in our lives, in our relationships. This tremendously improved my life, both in and outside the bedroom. Once I gave up all of that, like porn and masturbating and ejaculating unnecessarily, I realized two things. I had a tremendous amounts of energy and clarity of mind. And second, my hunger, my desire, and my courage went through the roof. Now I was like, oh man, I'm going to make it. I'm going to do big things. And I have courage. I'm just going to quickly say, I know this is a longer 1 minute answer, but I want to bring attention to another group of people who know this secret. Boxers. Muhammad Ali would not have sex or ejaculate 6 weeks before a fight so that he was hungry and his desire and his masculinity was charged up. Mike Tyson went celibate for 5 years because he wanted to be heavyweight champion of the world. And he knew that all the greatest fighters did this. Okay. Outside of that, Winston Churchill, Mahatma Gandhi in the political realm, when they asked Winston Churchill, why are you so successful? You basically spent your life running a country and doing all these amazing things. And you know what his answer was? He said, I have a wife and I don't chase women. He said, while everybody else on the hill is chasing women, I'm running the country. He said, so that was his answer. Mahatma Gandhi, after 36, his story is really interesting because there's a lot of controversy around his sexual practices. But at the age of 36, he was still married, but he said he's going to become celibate. And he wrote letters and information to his people all around him. And he said, It is what gives me the power is my celibacy. It is my,
Wow.
I'm not distracted. Now I'll give you a few more. Steve Jobs, his partner, attested, documented, said that Steve Jobs would pull out during sex, meaning he would have non-ejaculatory sex, which is some of the things that I teach. I said, so that, and he would tell his partner, I don't ejaculate because I need that urge. I need that power for my business, for my creativity and my wealth. And I can go on and on. Kanye West, 50 Cent, Sting. You're talking about, then you can go into biblical times, King Solomon, the Yellow Emperor. This is a well-known secret. And the elites also, and now I'm going to go, there's a big conspiracy theorist, right? But just know that just ask yourself this question. Why are powerful people always caught up in some sexual scandal? Because the two go hand in hand. And if you know how to use it consciously, it will take everything you do to the next level, because it will literally take your awareness and self-control and vibration to the next level. You will notice your thoughts are of a whole different quality when you learn to stay above sexual desire, at least for some sustained period. I said, I'm not above sex, but I practice what's called semen retention, which brings me to my business.
I know some of you, and again, I got a great brotherhood with you, man. I love you to death. And this is one of the reasons too, you don't shy away from conversation, and particularly conversation that can help people. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what I want you to really embrace and love. What's going on here is this is very much driven based on experience, based on passion, based on credibility, this conversation. And I'm going to tell you what is happening, Nick, is that people are now leaning in because you've done a good job getting us to where we are right now in this conversation. Now, brother, talk to us about your business around.
Okay, so I want to, you got to explain, like, you got to understand, like, semen retention. First of all, from a branding perspective, just to go, tell me that didn't catch your attention. Yes, this guy does. What? Semen? It caught the world's attention because I ran in the last election, and some of the media got a hold of my business and they blasted it over, and it went viral all around the world that this candidate wants men not to ejaculate. Man running for member of parliament wants people not to ejaculate. It was hilarious. And it was funny to see the reactions. And it also gave me more conviction because I realized how much people don't know about sex.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they just don't. So if someone says, Nakula or Nicholas, whatever you call me, what do? I say, well, I'm a sex guru. I teach men specifically. I teach couples too, but men specifically, my expertise is more in the male side of it. I said, I teach men to have conscious sexuality. And I'm the general of the Semen Retention Army. And that always gets them, right? I'm like, you're the general of the yeah. I said, so
it's like being a chef pimp, right?
That's right. You're a chef pimp. Yeah. Yeah. I'm the general of the Semen Retention Army. So let me explain the Semen Retention Army. Semen retention doesn't mean you never ejaculate again for every guy who's like, whoa, what's going on, right? What it does is it means that you stop ejaculating towards pornography and masturbation, and you even learn to have non-ejaculatory sex and experience really great, amazing, intimate, connected sex. It will be the most satisfying sex you ever have. And you will feel so powerful as a man, because what a lot of people don't realize, and especially in this over-sexualized world, is that, like, pornography especially does real bad wiring for our brain. The way we approach sex is quite like raw, very animalistic. Like, pornography really plays on that aspect, totally physical. But when I say conscious sexuality, you're bringing mindfulness into it. You're bringing breath. You're bringing your heart into it. You're learning actually how to feel into yourself and into your partner in a whole different way, where the sex is so satisfying, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. And it truly satisfies that desire. And as any man knows, when that desire, like, think about that energy. It could be 2:00 in the morning. You're dead tired. You just dealt with stress all day at your business. canceled clients, blah, blah, blah. 2:30 in the morning, the prospect for sex is available. Some Tinder date says, yeah, come over. All of us, you pulled an all-nighter, you're driving right across town. You got energy for days, right? Think about the energy when you're aroused, how much energy, and how the word turned on is important here. Not only are you turned on sexually, but actually your whole body is turned on. Your body is preparing for its most basic activity. And in that sense, it's secreting hormones, it's circulating your blood, and it's getting and if you think of yourself as an electric circuit, it is turning you on. It is charging you and literally charging your frequency. So here's what happens when a man learns how to have non-ejaculatory sex. Not only does he have more deep and intimate sex, the sex ends when she's done, or your partner in a gay relationship is done. And I work with both gay and straight men. So meaning you come from a spirit of giving in the bedroom. It really, you're first of all, and I only know it from a straight relationship, so I can only experientially talk about it from there. And my wife has done interviews on the subject. She'll tell you, and just like the men that work with me inside the Army, their wives love this. It's weird at first because they're like, whoa, this is strange, this is different. But once they get a few sessions in where they have non-ejaculatory sex, and she recognizes how it changes the quality of lover he is and the intimacy. First of all, she wants more sex because she's now enjoying it. Here's a quick stats. 5% of men, the average man lasts less than 5%, less than 5 minutes in the bedroom after he enters his partner, when it takes the average woman at least 20 minutes to get into a state before orgasm is possible. More men are experiencing premature ejaculation or being a quick shooter or erectile dysfunction now than ever before, and dissatisfaction in the bedroom is up like never before. So I'm
going to pause you there for just a quick second, because doesn't Napoleon Hill also talk about getting yourself a good partner?
Yes,
as part of one of the chapters. I don't know which one.
Yes. So here's a business. Here's why, as a business owner, especially, you should be interested in this. If you are dissatisfied in your sex life and in your marriage and in your relationship, and you're not at home, you will bring that dissatisfaction into your business. The reason why Napoleon Hill says that your relationship is part of your success plan is because if you're so distracted by the negativity in your relationship, or you don't know how to get your partner to support you, or to indulge in risk or indulge in pleasure and all of this stuff, and buy into you as a leader, as someone who can make it happen. If your partner you don't know how to get that or create that, then that is going to be a negative energy and a pain point. It's going to be a resistance towards your expansion. And many men and many entrepreneurs know exactly what I'm talking about right now. It's the
you've listed some of them. You've listed some pretty amazing.
I've been talking to entrepreneurs for a decade, right? And training entrepreneurs for a decade. And I'll tell you, it's the unspoken conversation. Yeah, your business, your strategy, marketing. Tell me what your home life is like.
Yeah, brother.
Tell me, are you satisfied there? Because if you're not, I promise you will find ways to find excitement and challenge in other ways, and it will be negative for your business. You will self-sabotage. Again, the biggest examples we could think of: Bill Clinton, Tiger Woods. They were so unsatisfied. They did not know how to satisfy themselves in that regard. And eventually it led to their empires fall. We've seen empires fall because of this.
Yep.
Okay. Now,
so
go ahead.
Let me ask you this question. And I think we need to have a part 2 of this conversation.
Sure. It's a lot to cover. Yeah.
But you've done an amazing job. And I really mean that. You have done an amazing job. Because when I went into this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, I said, Nick, you got to help me. How am I going to navigate this? I trust you. I understand, not at the level I didn't understand it as much as I do now, but it was like, I trust you, dude. And you're so serving people and bringing them at a new level and so on. So talk to me about this piece from the business side of it.
Okay.
How did you begin to build the brand of the Army?
The Army
of Semen Retention. So because we talk a lot about cash flow and leadership and, getting the right distribution systems in place and so on. But yours, dude, is a brand journey, pure and simple. Talk about building a brand that's based on a topic that really the world wants to talk about, but they don't really want to talk about.
Yeah. So first of all, the energy of your brand or of my brand is that this is so much more than a business. This is a movement. I'm a business is an offshoot of what I do. What I do is I transform people's lives by transforming their relationship with sex, sexuality, and learning how the art of sex transmutation. Okay. That's what I do. Now I have a business around that mission. So the first thing, I think it's always important that if you want to build something that's going to zag instead of zig, or it's going to catch people's attention, is you have to know what is the energy? What problem are you solving? How are you changing the world? What impact are you having? What legacy are you leaving? Once you know that, then you can be like, okay, this has to drive my messaging. Now, I knew that this is going to be a difficult journey because I am basically shifting sex as a culture. I'm challenging sex as a culture. I'm saying, hold on, do you really want your kids growing up in a world where pornography is what's teaching them about sexuality? Is that what you want? Are you aware that pornography is the number one consumed thing on the internet? Right? So this is what you got to get. So for me, this is a movement. So now I'm like, great. Now I'm a trainer. My background before teaching this was in sales training and working with entrepreneurs. Right. That's why I know entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah, very well. You know it well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I said, okay, I'm going to bring my trainer's mindset to the world of conscious sexuality. And so what I did is I designed using all the techniques and the things that I learned and, the crap that was just crap. And I broke down and I created a training program and I called it Sexual Alchemy, which is the alchemization of sex or the transmutation of sex. And so I launched this program and boom, I started selling programs and and started making money. And a few guys started hiring me to work with them one-on-one. What I realized though, was that so many guys, almost 80% of the guys, were buying the program, but they weren't completing it or finishing it. And I remember that stat, about 94% of personal development or business development books that are bought are never read. And I said, wow, I don't know. I guess it's not a PG, but I said some choice words to myself and said, I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm not going to put out something because it's a mission first.
Yeah.
These guys have to finish the program so that they get the result. And from a business perspective, I'm like, I'm going to need third-party validation.
Totally.
For people to be like, is this for real? Right? So I'm going to need my early adopters to really get it done. So that's when I was like, so to me, the army is an analogy of a place where you go to get focused, to get disciplined, and to get on task, to stop messing around with your life and take yourself to the next level, taking your results by taking yourself to the next level. The way to the next income bracket, the way to the next level up is you have to level up. And so I love that analogy of the army. And so I was like, I'm going to create a training system where not only am I going to train guys on the techniques and the practices and the breath work and all these cool techniques so they become powerhouses both in and outside the bedroom, but I'm going to hold their feet to their fire. So the training program it takes about 6 weeks to 90 days to learn all the practices and the techniques. But it's a year-long commitment to work with me in the training program because I hold you accountable, daily accountability on your pornography, masturbation, and practice habits that you establish. It's a habit development routine. And I don't buy into this 30 days, 60 days, 90. No, 1 year minimum. Come on. Are we building a real business or are you just messing around? If you're messing around, then go do the 30-day program. If you're for real, you come work with me and you do the year program and we build real habits so that at the end of the year, you never need me again. You've got your vices under control or out of your life. And you've developed such good positive habits through these practices of breath work and meditation and learning to work and focus the mind intensely, where you will notice the direct measurable impact into the sales and income and leadership that you bring to the table. And so it's a year-long program with daily accountability through a tracking
Okay,
sheet.
so I'm going to pause you there for a second.
I'm getting into that.
No, it's all good, dude. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. This is not because you have followed my every direction on how I wanted this conversation to go, dude. So
Cool.
It's all good. It's seriously great value. People are leaning in now and say, okay, how do you get to somebody to commit to a year?
Yeah. Well, okay. So the first step is basically, like if you're listening to this and you're going, man, I think this guy is hitting on something I need. I want to either have better intimacy in my relationship, or I want to improve my own sexual experiences. Maybe I'm bored with my sex life. I don't know how to be satisfied in it, or I'm sexually nervous. A lot of guys work with me. Some guys work with me. Yeah. That have anxiety around sex and performance. So that's one aspect. You're hearing that and going, okay, he can help me there. Or you're in a business. You're a man. I'm sorry, but I work with men.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
There's
you're
nothing
a man.
wrong with niche marketing.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah. Well, this practice is specific for men. Semen retention. I'm sorry, it's just what it is, right? Right? Right. So, or you work. You recognize that, yes, this is distracting me. This is a problem. Or you're like, yes, I'm curious about being able to take my own energy and clarity of mind and vibration to a new level. So it's either one of those two. That's generally the two guys that are working, right? Then you come and we have a conversation before any commitment where I lay out the program, we lay out the goals, we talk about what the challenges are, and then you decide, okay, this is for me. And then you come in.
Well, there's a price.
Yeah. Oh, is that like? Oh, yeah. So then you either pay. Yeah, you're either paying a couple grand for a year-long commitment.
Yeah.
To work with me. Or to work with me through the Semen Retention Army, which is done through groups, or you're paying $5,000, and this is all U.S. pricing, by the way. You're paying $5,000 to work with me one-on-one for 3 months, and then accountability for the year. So for guys who want to work with me one-on-one, they pay a bit more.
Yeah. So what I love what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen, is he is testing their commitment. And some of you, with this crazy strategy. I mean, Tony Robbins, charged $100,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
Some people charge $100 a year.
For what I'm giving you, I'm cheap, man. I'm telling you, this will be so transformative. So, like, it will blow your mind.
Get in now. But the point is that that's how he's getting the commitment, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not just by the money. It's about, this is the value you're going to get. These are the deliverables you're going to get. Do you want to sign up for a journey, or do you want to just sign up for a Band-Aid? Yeah. And you have really done that, Nick. And dude, unfortunately, we got to end this conversation.
Yeah. Sure.
I knew it would go longer, but ladies and gentlemen, I just want to recap on what's just happened with the conversation with Nick Nakula. One is obviously what he did is show you that credibility comes from experience. It comes from delivering. It comes from passion. It comes on value. But overall, it comes on mission. And that's what you've shown today, Nick, is you have built something, a business. And I gotta think you got a pretty successful business happening right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like way more than even like the Semen Retention Army hasn't been around a year yet. We have over 40 guys right now in the Army in the combination of the one-on-one program with me or working within the thing. And I think it's been about 8 or 9 months when we're recording this. So this is the first year of the Army. So we're still in the early adopter phase and everything, but I've done programs before, so I knew how to get it going. And I was surprised even at the uptake, because I know it's an interesting topic. It's not a usual thing. So I'm in it for the long haul to really educate the world on conscious sexuality and how important it is that we understand our sexuality and how it impacts our entire life, especially entrepreneurs and business owners who want to be successful. This is the secret sauce. This is what's going to take you out of the pack and give you an edge, a secret edge that, when you're sitting there in a sales meeting and you know how to charge yourself up, this is going to give you a level of charisma, confidence, and energy that people are going to be like, oh man, we got to be in business with this person because they're an expansive energy.
I love that.
That's
it's not we got to hang out with this person. It's we got to be in business with them.
We have to
customers,
be in business
employees, suppliers are all saying that because they want to be part of the journey.
Yeah.
Nick, how do people get in touch with you, man? What's your go-to? If I said I need to know how to get a hold of this man.
Yeah, best thing to do is go to nakuladas.com because you can send me a direct message from there. You can connect with all my social media from there. If you're specifically interested in what did Napoleon Hill exactly say, if you go to I'll go to my website, then go to my YouTube channel from my website, and the channel video, actually, I give you 15 quotes from Napoleon Hill's book to back up everything I'm saying from that book. And then there's a ton of information to, dive deep for my analytical thinkers. But if you already know, this is, some of you already know, you've already signed up in your head because you already know, oh my God, yeah, I need this because I know this is what's holding me back.
Entrepreneur, mission, I could say missionary.
Well, yeah, man, all kinds, man. I'll teach you all kinds.
Yeah, a general, good friend, and a conscious sexuality, conscious heart also that comes from this man. I highly recommend you hang out with him. Nick, keep being awesome, dude. I got to scoot up myself. You owe me a little bit of homework so we can put this to production. We'll be in touch afterwards anyway. Please,
sounds
dude.
good. I appreciate you, brother. Talk to you later.
Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.
Cheers.